The Frog Prince, adapted and illustrated by K. Ryan Henisey. Once, not so long ago and not so far away, there lived a beautiful girl. Everyone who saw her remarked on her beauty. Even the sun, looking down, thought she was the most beautiful girl in all the world. The girl had a wonderful father who spoiled her greatly. On one occasion, he bought her a beautiful, golden, fancy new iPhone, and it was her favorite thing that she had ever had. With it, she could play games, she could talk to her friends, she could surf the web, she could do pretty much anything. The girl's favorite thing to do was to go into the yard and sit by the pond and play with her toys, read her books, or visit with her friends. And on this day, it was no different. She went right out into the yard, right out to the pond, sat down, and started playing with her phone. And just as she had finished a riveting game of Candy Crush, she threw her phone in the air in excitement, reached up to grab it, and hit it with the tips of her fingers, and it twisted through the air and bounced off the ground and splashed right into the puddle. And it sank to the deepest part of the pond. And the girl, she felt her heart sink too. Just as tears started to fall from her face to the ground, she heard a croaking little voice say, "Girl, girl, princess girl, why are you crying? Whatever could be the matter? A girl such as beautiful as you should never be crying." And she looked all about her. She turned left, she turned right. She looked up and she looked down, and oh, there it was. A frog. A toad, with its head sticking out of the water. Well, what's making you cry so much?" And the girl told him her story, how she had dropped her iPhone into the deepest part of the pond. "What? Oh, that's no worry," said the frog. "I can go get your phone." "You can?" said the girl. "Yes, I can," said the frog. "But first I want something from you. I want you to be my friend. For a whole day you must play with me, eat with me, and you must even let me sleep with you in your bed." And the girl, thinking, "It's just a frog, I don't have to follow through with any of this," agreed heartily. And so the frog went deep down into the pond, past the muck, and past the slime, past the fish, and past all the weeds. And there he found the golden iPhone, and brought it back to the girl. And she was so overjoyed, she immediately texted her friends, and ran off to the house. The frog calling behind her, wait for me, your legs are so much longer than mine." But she paid him no heed. Later that evening, the girl was eating in the dining room with her father, and they both heard a knock on the door. Tap, tap, tap. The girl went to see who it was, and as she opened the door, she looked left, she looked right, she looked up, and then she looked down, and oh, it was the frog, and she slammed the door shut, and she ran back to the table, and she sat down, her heart beating quite fast. And her father said, "Who was at the door, my dear princess?" And the girl responded, no one. No one was at the door. It was just this frog." A frog? "Well, yes, see, I dropped my phone into the pond, and this frog got it for me, and I told him that I would be his friend all day, but he's a frog, and I don't want to be a frog's friend all day." And her father looked at her, and a little bit of the joy that he normally had in his face for her froze. "My daughter, a promise is a promise, and you made that frog a promise, and it's one that you must keep. Go, invite him to the table, he will eat with you, you will be his friend." And begrudgingly she did. The frog ate with quite an appetite, everything shoveled right into his mouth as if he had never eaten before. But the girl, she was quite different. Sitting next to the frog had made her lose her appetite, and she barely picked at her food. When they were all finished, the frog said, "Come, let's go play. I'm ready to play a game with you." And the girl said, "Oh, no, no, I don't want to play a game." But her father looked at her, and he said, "My daughter, a promise is a promise. Go and play a game with the frog." And so they went, and they played a game. And somewhere in the midst of the game, the girl found that she was enjoying herself. She was having a good time. And finally the game was over, and the frog stretched his arms out wide as they could go, maybe 3 or 4 inches. And he said, "Oh, that was wonderful. I'm tired now. You can take me to your bed." And the girl said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not putting your slimy feet on my pillow." But the girl's father looked at her and said, "A promise is a promise, and this is one that you will keep." And so the girl took the frog with her into her room. She put on her pajamas, and she crawled into bed. And the frog called from the floor, "Princess, princess, come, let me up into the bed." And she said, "Oh, frog, frog, no." And he said, "I'll tell your father." And she relented and put him on her pillow, and they both fell asleep. And in the morning when she woke, there was a prince next to her in her bed, handsome, kind, and sweet. And from that day on, they were fast friends, inseparable. The end. Be sure to visit kryanhenesey.com for more of my art, for more of my stories, and be sure to download Sleepy Safari for free to your iPad or other devices. Look for my other books as well.